Welcome to Malcolm Noble Talks about crime fiction classics.
Hello there, Malcolm Noble with my weekly talk about a crime fiction classic. And this week I've chosen not a mystery novel, but a commentary on the genre, Colin Watson's Snobbery With Violence. It was published in 1971 and traces the development of the English detective story and its audience. I think the book's successful because Watson sticks to that theme. He doesn't fall into the trap of trying to list every writer who has been published or heaping praise on one particular author compared to another. That would date the book eventually. No, he's all the time concerned about what was going on in our community that prompted our favourite books to be written and, more importantly, to be successful. That means that he's produced not literary criticism, but a social history. That history may be reinterpreted, but this is the book that people will have to argue against. Snobbery With Violence is the classic. He takes us through the growth of the Railway Bookstore, the development of the circulating library, Boots and Smiths, the importance of the Sunday papers, and so Sunday readership and Sunday serialisation. He also included these delightful cartoons from Punch relating to the English passion for detective stories. They're delightful. All the time he is showing us that the story of the crime fiction cannot be divorced from the story of its readership. I'm sure that the success of Snobbery With Violence is helped in no small part by the reputation of Colin Watson as a crime writer. He produced a series of detective novels called The Flaxborough Chronicles, set in a small English country town in the 1950s and 60s, very much the sort of world that he's talking about here. So we feel not only that he's well informed, but also that he has a genuine affection for the world that he's talking about. And of course it was in Snobbery With Violence that he used that term mayhem parva to describe a small, cosy village where murders happen beneath the surface. That term is now so much a part of our language that if it's not in the Oxford English Dictionary, it certainly ought to be. A new edition of the book came out in 1979. The year before, Colin Watson had contributed a chapter called Mayhem Parva and Wicked Belgravia to the BBC book Crime Writers. His chapter in this book fits very nicely alongside his work in Snobbery With Violence, although I have to say other parts of this book do seem dated nowadays. But this one is this week's classic, Snobbery With Violence by Colin Watson. Thanks for listening. Please do leave a comment if you wish, and join me next week for another selection. Bye.
About.me/Malcolm.Noble lists the other websites that I'm connected to.